Hello, everybody. It's Ed Rosenberg. Good morning. And this morning, I have the pleasure of speaking to Cynthia. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great.
Okay, so myself and many other Amazon sellers, we were away for Rosh Hashanah the past couple of days. A lot has happened, so we're doing this late breaking news interview to try to summarize everything that we missed, okay?
Okay, I'll
What
start.
happened? What happened?
Okay, so the first thing that happened was that Amazon had a major policy change for their review programs. And what they basically said is that the only review program that is acceptable to them is the Amazon Vine program. So they have basically said no third party programs are acceptable. You cannot give away free product anymore and ask for a review. Now, you can certainly give away free product or discounted product as part of your sales, but you cannot use it to ask for reviews. And so this, of course, this is a big shift for all of the vendors who, offer these services, but also for Amazon sellers, because right now 3P sellers cannot use the Amazon Vine program. It is only for people who provide product directly to Amazon. So the 1P sellers, they can use Vine. So this basically means that if you want to get product reviews for your product, you either have to sell something directly to Amazon, or you're just SOL, like you have to kind of just wait for organic reviews. So you can give away product, but you can't ask for a review, and you can't make it dependent on a review. So over the past couple of days, what I've seen is a number of these review sites, like Snagshout and some of the others, what they've done is they've basically just converted to being a deal site. So you can go pick up deals now as before, but you're no longer constrained to leave a review. And they're no longer sort of cutting you off if you don't leave a review, which many of them did. And then if you look at sites like Thomason, which did like the blogger reviews, they're pretty much operating the same as before, but what they're saying is you don't have to leave an Amazon review. So I'm going to wait to see how this all shakes out, because some of them are doing kind of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing about Amazon reviews. They're like, well, we're not going to ask you for it, right? But so I'm not really sure what's going to happen. The way we'll know how hard Amazon is cracking down on this is by the suspensions that come in our door. So we have been getting suspensions for product reviews forever, right? We get them every week. And so I'll be curious to see what Amazon cracks down on based on this. But yeah, it's a big shift. And some of it, I think, was definitely due to review metas. I don't know if you know about reviewmeta.com, but they had put out a study where they had studied the Amazon reviews and shown that basically sellers who use these programs, their reviews overall were much better than norm. And I mean, of course, that's why people paid for it, right? But so that's they put out a study 2 weeks ago. It went viral, and then boom, Amazon puts down the hammer this week.
I actually did see that study, but I didn't need a study to know the results. It's kind of obvious.
Yeah, it's just when you see it in data, kind of in black and white, and we know how Amazon feels about data. Well, I don't think that it made this happen. I think what happened was it just encouraged them to accelerate it. This is something they've been moving towards for a while. You can
Why,
see that in every policy change they've made about reviews.
right now, why can't Amazon just do what eBay does and tie it to a transaction? That'll be it.
Um, well, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean by that. In other words, you have to buy the product off the platform to leave a review.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because they want to get as many reviews as possible, I guess. That's part of it. But yeah, that's something they certainly could consider. But, even so, if the product is bought at a discount, it gets to be suspect again. So how do you get people to leave reviews? Now, one thing that we've worked with our clients with for a while is, rather than using a program is to use something like Feedback Genius. So if they have a product that they're trying to support, rather than asking for seller feedback, they instead ask for a product review. And that helps. It's a modest bump, right? It's not like those programs were, like a Snagshot or any of those other programs where they'd really get a lot of reviews. But it does help. And so that's still allowed. You can still ask for a review. You just can't ask for a review in exchange for a free or discounted product.
Right, those reviews which Feedback Genius or Be Cool entities do, that's just when you're selling when you're sending the feedback solicitation, you're also sending them to the product review. The problem is those reviews end up being bad.
Well, they are if your product is bad. That's the other problem that Amazon had with the third-party reviews and the review programs is that when you got organic reviews, they might be a more modest 3 or 4, but when they were incentivized, you were getting 4s and 5s. And, what was the reality of what the product actually was for the buyer? So it generally was lower. And so, there are people who have come to us who are upset by their product reviews. They want us to get rid of the bad ones. And, they deserve some of them. I mean, for all the ones that might be competitors or, might be dirty tricks, there's a whole bunch that are just real people who are not happy with the product. And I always tell my clients, why are people having problems with your product? You need to look at that. So sometimes it really is a helpful, feedback to know what's really happening with the product.
Now, what's going to be with all the millions of reviews on Amazon that was left through these sites with a disclaimer? Are they going to be removed?
We don't know that yet. I suspect that some of them definitely will. Basically, there's people out there right now who are suspended for product review programs. And every time you're suspended, what Amazon insists on is that you give your lists of all those reviews that are not compliant, and then it takes them down. And what many sellers don't realize when they try to game the system is that Amazon is asking you a question they already know the answer to. They already know which reviews are not compliant. And the data that they have on each transaction is mind-boggling. And so those are going to continue to happen. We're going to continue to see reviews taken down for those reasons. But going forward, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen retroactively to sellers who never were suspended or don't get suspended. I suspect they get to keep their reviews. This is one of the questions that we're trying to find out through our contacts at Amazon.
Because people invested tens of thousands of dollars in those reviews. It'll reshuffle the whole site.
Yes, it would make a huge difference if they're all taken down. So it's hard to say what Amazon is going to do about that. Either they'll continue to suspend people for, improper product reviews and take them down that way, or they might do something unilaterally, like you said, and just remove every review that says was, given in exchange for a free product. I really don't know. They have not said yet.
Okay, now what should people do who, a lot of people have a whole system going where they're sending hundreds of reviews. So they woke up this morning and they're watching this video, or they probably saw already that updated terms of services. What should people do if they have stuff going in midstream?
Well, basically, it depends on what programs they're doing. Like, if they're doing other programs like social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, those are all okay. But what you can't do is ask people to leave a review on Amazon. So if you're giving away a free product and you're asking people to share socially, please share with your friends on Twitter, Facebook, that's fine. Okay. What you just have to be very careful now is to be specific that you're not asking them to leave a review on Amazon. So, like the people who use the Thomason blogs, for example, they are still welcome to do blogs, but the blogs can't lead back specifically to Amazon, and they can't leave a review on Amazon. So basically, it's still a way to get influence for your product. It's still a way to drive traffic to your product. And if you have those programs in place, I would continue them, just realizing that they can't leave it on Amazon. If they're using a program that where people are asked to leave, now I will tell you, most of the vendors sent emails out to their reviewers, and basically on Monday said stop, right? Don't leave a review. So this may have already been taken care of for you if you were using a program. They may have already sent an email to your reviewers that have maybe just gotten their product but not left a review yet, saying don't leave a review. So, but I suspect there'll be a little bit where there's some reviews that still come in from a couple of weeks ago, and Amazon has to know that's going to happen. Yeah, I would just simply tell them they need to talk to their vendors. They need to stop the programs. They need to make sure that it's very clear if they're still going to use a review program or a giveaway program that they are not obligated to leave a review on Amazon, and that you're just seeking maybe social sharing kind of thing.
I have a feeling the next step from Amazon is they're going to open up Vine to everyone.
That seems likely. I mean, it makes sense, because if they tell you you can't use any product review programs and then they only allow Vine for their 1P sellers, I mean, that's really kind of crappy. So, yeah, I suspect we may see that they do that, although I don't think they recognize what kind of tsunami they'll be unleashing on themselves by doing that.
What do you mean?
Well, there's just so many sellers that would want it. I mean, I think they'd be bowled over. So they're probably trying to think about how they could handle the influx of, companies who would want to do reviews.
They should leave it. What they should do, Amazon, if you're watching, is max it out a couple of reviews per ASIN. In other words, everybody gets to get 2 reviews, just to get the item going. And
Well, yeah, and they generally do put kind of a limit on it. Like usually people who use their Vine programs, they get between 10 and 15 reviews. So that's enough to start a product, like you said. And I'm sure there's ways that they could control it so that most of the reviews are organic and not, suspect.
okay, last night I got around 20 texts from people saying that they got this email from Amazon saying that you should fess up if you have any related accounts.
Yes, so this is something that I knew was coming. I've been talking about it in some of my presentations that for a long time, Amazon would not put the trace on you until you were suspended. And the trace is looking for other accounts, right? And so, a lot of people would think they were getting away with something because they'd never gotten caught. And I would always say to them, it's because you've never been suspended. Once you're suspended, it's going to be different. Well, what Amazon had told us about a month ago was that they were going to proactively put the trace on everyone. So I looked at these emails. Of course, many of our clients got this too. And I will say a couple of things. One, it doesn't seem to make sense how they're doing it, because a couple of people that they have sent that letter to have never had another account. Like, it's a point of pride. You know what I'm saying? And so they're like, I can't believe I got this email. But then there's other people who didn't get the email, who probably should have. And just saying. So I'm not really sure what their criteria is. And I look at it as a kind of amnesty. What they're doing is they're giving you a chance to fix it now. And so there's a lot of sellers out there who may have multiple accounts because a brother or a cousin or somebody opened an account, sold 2 items, and never did anything again. Or they just didn't know what they were doing. Or there's a lot of multiple accounts just from kind of stupidity, right? Or not understanding Amazon's rules. And many times they never ever sold on the second account. So this is a chance to get those closed down, taken care of, and get right with Amazon. Now, I have plenty of other clients, very creative clients, who have multiple accounts as a plan B strategy, and they've found a way to hide themselves from Amazon. And I I would say, since many of those have had previously suspended accounts and the trace is already on them, they are probably successful in hiding themselves from Amazon. So they perhaps don't need to worry. However, um, however, Amazon did imply that they have added new things to the algorithm to link accounts. So I guess we're just going to find out what happens. But like I said, this email was clearly kind of a not get out of jail free card, but it was a fix it now and we won't come after you kind of email. And so I would encourage people who do have multiple accounts um, and maybe, and who get this email to really answer it and do something about it. And even if you don't have multiple accounts, you should answer the email and state clearly that you do not. And that's really all I can recommend at this time. And like I said, for those who have multiple accounts by design and who have been successful to date, you're probably okay because after all, you've had the trace on you this whole time.
Well, if you have multiple accounts and you're trying to hide it from Amazon and you've been pretty successful, I see no point in fessing up now because they're going to chop you anyways. It's not like they're going to say, okay, you have 5 accounts and we're going to let
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you're fine, man. No. So that's the thing. I mean, the people who should fess up are the ones who are okay with one of them being shut down and who just want to not have to worry about Amazon shutting everything down.
Right, it could be what Amazon is doing is they want to first get all the people who have, brother-in-law accounts, which they legitimately have only one account. In other words, we'll give you amnesty, and
Hmm.
then everybody else we're going to blow away. It could be they
Right.
plan on doing that.
Right. And then there's also a lot of family accounts. So, we're cousins or, whatever. And so they are also being given the opportunity to make their case for having two accounts, right? They can say, we legitimately really are two different businesses in two different states. We're not one family business, blah, 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 blah. And so that's why I said it's kind of an amnesty because you're given an opportunity to make your case now and not later after you've been suspended. So um, that's, so I would think about that too for people who they know they have multiple accounts in their family and who may be concerned, well, what if Amazon links them and wants to shut one of them down? So this is your chance to explain why that account is not the same as yours, or you divorced that person, or we see a lot of linked accounts now that people get suspended that are a lot of that sort of family entanglement stuff, and there was no ill will, there was nothing, nobody was trying to be sneaky or anything. And so a lot of times just explaining it to Amazon and having them understand the family relationship and dynamic, they often will give permission for a second account. So they, it really, and it gets down to also having different inventory. So, if you've got one relative who's, baby and toys, you got another one that's doing health and beauty, they can see that these are legitimately separate businesses.
Right. Now, how about people who already asked permission to have 2 accounts? Do you think it's necessary to re-ask?
No, that should already be annotated on their account. So, basically, if they should get that letter, I think they should respond and say that we have already received permission to have 2 accounts, this account and this account, and we got permission on XYZ date. I think it's just safer to respond, but you should be fine because your account should be annotated. We've seen this happen all the time where people with 2 accounts, one gets suspended, the other one stays up. I mean, Amazon may look at the other account because they want to make sure that if you're making a mistake in one account, you're not making it in the other, but they usually don't take it down. It's certainly not an automatic thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. What other suspensions have you been seeing lately?
Okay, so there's one suspension. We've only seen one so far. It just came up. I heard about it on Sunday. So this is one that I I saw coming. I talked about, a lot of people got all jumpy with me. But this person was suspended specifically for doing retail arbitrage. They were told specifically in the email that they are not allowed to purchase items at retail stores and resell them as new on the platform. And that is a big shift. Now, I'm waiting to see this suspension again. We've only seen one so far. And I want to see if it happens again. But the way the letter was written was so specific that, sort of anti-retail arbitrage, that, it seems to me that that is something that would be concerning for those who do retail arbitrage. So, like I said, I've just seen one, and I'm going to see what happens. This was a very large retail arbitrage seller, and which is probably why they got Amazon's attention. But they were told they cannot buy retail and sell as new. So
How would Amazon know?
how would they know? Basically, I guess by asking for invoices, but they somehow knew with this particular person that that was their model. This person was fairly public on Facebook and stuff. I mean, I don't know, maybe they just saw them talking about it, but um, yeah, it puzzled me because there's so many people inside of Amazon who have no clue what retail arbitrage is. So to see somebody actually suspended for it was weird. So I'm going to see, what happens, but I think that we're going to see more of that because that's what they kind of told me. They told me that starting in October, they were not going to accept receipts anymore. So, at least not for new. And
That
so that's a big shift for those who do retail arb. Now, I know most of your viewers are, they're wholesale and closeouts and stuff like that. So it doesn't really affect them.
but the retail arbitrage, like that's a tough plan of action. Like what are you going to say?
Well, we basically say we'll never do it again, right? And but that changes their whole model. I mean
Exactly.
and they have, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of inventory up there that they're now going to have to, sell on eBay, I guess.
Or maybe say that they'll continue with their business model, except they'll sell it as used as new.
Correct. So, and they're welcome to do that as well. So, that's what they'll probably have to do to get rid of the current inventory. But then again, that means they have to recall the inventory and re-sticker it.
Yeah.
So, this is really a devastating suspension for that seller.
Yeah, and not just for the inventory, for the whole business model.
Yes. So, like I said, I want to make sure that this wasn't just some weird exception. I want to see some more, but that's kind of how we know what Amazon is actually doing, is how they suspend.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, Cynthia, so that was great stuff, and I really appreciate it. It was late breaking news, and we'll be in touch as always. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.